have strong feelings about selling your house as is. And considering that I help people sell their houses for a living, there's reasons I have strong feelings about it. So, and a lot of people think, okay, selling my house as is just it's a black and white thing. Guys, it's not. So in the state of Colorado, because I'm licensed in Colorado, so that's where I live, that's where I work, that's where I license, that's where I play, that's what I'm going to speak to. But in our state contract, in section 10, it states that all offers are as is, where is, with all faults. Done. Like, that's what it is. And I would say 99% of people, probably 99.5% of people, do not understand that. Now, it does say that all offers are as is, where is, with all faults. However, buyer, you have the right to do an inspection. Buyer has the right to object or terminate based on the inspection. Buyer and seller have the right to resolve those inspection concerns or proceed with the contract. There's lots of caveats to that. But when people are talking about selling as is, and I'm going to link to an older video up above and down below on as is offers and why I'm not a big fan of them. And this was more like during 2021 and 2022, early 2022, when the market was just nuts and people were like, as is, where is, and I'm like, cool, do you want me to copy and paste section 10 of the contract down in the bottom? And I did that. I did that for many of my buyers. I just copy and pasted it and said, by the way, seller's agent, this is as is because every offer you just got in your inbox is as is, right? That doesn't mean anything. But a lot of sellers just want to sell as is because they don't want to do anything. Okay. If you were buying a property, do you want to buy the as-is property where the seller's not willing to do anything? Every seller has different priorities, right? So when I sit down with a seller and they want to talk as-is, I'm like, cool, okay, what's as-is to you? Is as-is giving somebody else money so they can solve the problem? Is as-is you don't want to do it yourself, but you're willing to hire a contractor? Is as-is you are not willing to do anything, touch anything, give anybody money, whatever, okay? The market will dictate what a ready, willing, and able buyer is willing to pay for your property. And so a lot of times people don't want to they want to sell as is because they don't have the time or the money to do, fix it up to sell it. That's fine. My goal is to help you accomplish your goals. So when I'm interviewing with sellers, because you should be interviewing agents and talking to more than one, as I always say, that's my standard thing, that's my preach, right? So when I'm sitting down for an interview with sellers and I'm like, what are your goals? If your goal is to sell it fast and sell it as is, then okay, we're going to market it a certain way. That's going to attract a particular buyer. That's going to likely net you approximately these proceeds. Does that work for you? No, you want more money. Okay, then let's figure out what makes sense because that's likely what's going to happen. I want to set a realistic expectation, and I also don't want to work for free. I don't want to sit there and market a property for 6 months that I know is not going to sell because I know the market. I'm in the market. That's what I do for a living. Because then that's just wasting my time. And I'm sure you don't like wasting your time and working for your boss and never getting paid, right? So those are conversations that I'm having with sellers. So if that's helpful, if you never thought about that, like, oh yeah, I guess I'm only going to attract a buyer that's willing to do all that work, that has the money to do all that work. If you never thought of those things, hit the like button because that'll help other people find this and find those answers too. So I'm totally okay with selling as long as the seller and whoever I'm talking to understands, hey, you may not get as much money for it, but if you want to dump it, we can dump it. I have some clients that I was shopping investor offers for last week because they were like, we think we want to fix it up, but it's going to cost a lot of money to fix it up and a lot of time. So what can you go get for it? I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go get you some offers. They may not be what you want, but there'll be people that are ready to close in like 2 weeks and you want your money fast. Here you go. Now, good, fast, and cheap, pick two, right? It's a nice little phrase that everybody always talks about when it comes to contractors and things like that. But so it always depends on the goals. That's why it's really a goals question of what are your goals? Your goal shouldn't be as is. Your goal should be, I don't have the money to fix it, so I can't do that. I need to sell it quickly. I don't want to do any work. I don't have contractor connections. I'm out of state. I have a seller that's out of the country, literally out of the country, and has been out of the country for 20 years right now. So, and they have different priorities because they have different access and different capabilities. So those are really the conversations when it comes to as is. But just realize, and if you're curious, if you're like, okay, maybe I don't want to sell as is now, and that's a good point, and you hit the like button, you're like, all right, that's good. That was helpful. Thank you. Free information, it's worth what you pay for it, right? So maybe I do want to fix some stuff. What are the top 5 things or top things that I should really fix? I'll link to a video up above and down below that I just posted on what are the top 5 things I usually talk to sellers about when it comes to, fixing up their property prior to selling it. And then we'll also link to up above and down below some of the high ROI return on investment items. So for this particular seller that we're closing next week, just as an example, that ROI was, hey, in the current condition, we think your property will probably sell for about, maybe 185, 190, maybe 190-ish. You're going to do some stuff. Okay, cool. I feel good about that at 190. Maybe with a couple of things you do will be at 195. She ended up spending about $4 or $5 grand, maybe about $4 grand more than she wanted, or she was planning to originally. And I was like, if you're willing to do these things, then I think we can price a little bit higher. And we listed it for 198 and we're selling for 210. So for, about $4,000 more than she planned on, turned out about $15,000 more in proceeds. So that was pretty good ROI, right? That's 11 grand in her pocket. So those are things that I'm going to sit and talk about with sellers when they have the as-is conversation. I'm like, cool, I just want to understand your goals. And then I know based on your goals, what options should I present to you? So you can make an informed decision on whether selling as-is makes sense. Okay? So because I know a lot of people have the question about selling their house as is in Colorado, and you can do those things. You do have some pretty hefty disclosure requirements here in the state. So if you know about problems, if you have current actual knowledge, you need to disclose those things. I'll link to down below a PDF of a seller's property disclosure form as it's currently stated, which changes a lot. So I'll put the caveat, it might be an older version. Reach out to me for the newer one if you need it. But if you know about things, you are obligated to disclose. And I'll also link to a video up above and down below. Maybe I'll put the link in that video instead of what you need to disclose when you're selling your property and understanding that and the liability that comes with that. So just because you have a house that you're like, okay, well, I've had the house, it's a rental for the last 25 years. I don't know anything about it because I haven't lived in it. I think an attorney's going to call you on that when they take you to court because the buyer is like, hey, you've got a roof leak. And oh, by the way, the property management company said you had 6 roof repair people out here and then you didn't hire any of them to fix it. So just because you didn't live in a house doesn't mean you get to say you don't know anything. If you have current actual knowledge, then you need to disclose those things. So selling as is, there's pros, there's cons. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more information and perspective about it. If you want to interview me to help you sell your house in the South Metro Denver area, you can book an appointment directly from my calendar link down below. You can call or text me. My phone number's down below, or reach out to me directly via email. That's okay too. Call, text, or my calendar link's probably going to be the best way to get a hold of me and get on my calendar. So feel free. I would love the opportunity for an interview and to see if helping you sell your home as is or making some improvements makes sense for you and your goals, because that should be the goal, is to accomplish your goals. So thanks so much for the time. If you found this helpful, hit the like button. If you're liking my videos, please subscribe to my content. I would greatly appreciate it. And thanks so much, and y'all have a good one.